Good evening everyone and welcome to CRC. We are here for the LMP3. It is the penultimate round of the championship, round 12, as we take in the Circuit of the Americas from Austin, Texas. Good evening everyone, I am James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream as always, and I'm by myself once again with only 8 drivers attending. One of the poorest attendances of the season, if I've got to be honest, but we are fresh here in the knowledge that we are safe with 3.42 miles in length, 20 turns are when these drivers out on track. These curbs are very fearsome apparently, according to our drivers. It is going to be very sunny conditions, 2 o'clock local time, which is about 8 o'clock obviously our time, and we're going to be continuing through probably for the next hour and a half. My voice is going, I will monitor it during the course of this stream. But if it gets to the end and it's completely gone, there might not be any interviews until the final round next week in Dubai. But I will update you guys on that in due course. As we are here, as I say, for the Circuit of the Americas, and coming into tonight, the championship can be wrapped up. It is Speedster who leads the way. Oh, hello crowd. We haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, that's a strange looking... Not sure what's going on, to be honest, but there we go. There's the crowd. And there are cars leaving the grid. There's Speedster leaving the grid, and he leaving the pit lane, I should say. And I think Simon Sinclair's one of the first out, and indeed Aguilator's one of the first out. Looks like he might have spun that coming out the pit lane there. One of the corners off to the right-hand side, or the left-hand side there, of where he was coming out. Yes, Speedster out on top on 169 points. The gap is 23 coming into tonight, so Speedster can wrap this up pretty much by finishing first and Darren finishing either second or third. Speedster can win the race. Sinclair second, he's the best of the rookies and the only rookie I think that will be getting the prize for the best rookie of the season. 146 points he's on. Andy in third on 116, Matter in fourth on 98 with Resner Home in fifth on 91, Blakey in sixth on 86, Emmanuel in seventh on 78, H-Racing Green in eighth on 68 with Aguilator in ninth on 61 and Nissim in 10th on 56 points. Bulldog Racing Team have already wrapped up the championship, and that's not what we like to see. Aguilator has spun coming out of turn 10, that is, on the run down the straight, so hopefully we're going to not be seeing much of that here tonight. The curbs are pretty lethal though, so it's going to be really intriguing to see how these guys progress out on track. The only driver not to have left the pit lane so far, I think, is Matter. Yeah, Matter's still not out of the pit lane. Oh, it's a fantastic camera angle coming down in towards turn 12. But Aguilator is on an out lap. Hopefully we're going to be seeing some very strong performances here tonight from the guys. Only 8 drivers. It is one of the poorest attendance of the season, as I say. But quality rather than quantity. That's what they say here in any of the TTML leagues and certainly in CRC. We see the rolling camera coming through the triple right, through 16, 17 and 18. Verstappen corner, as Mr. McGinley likes to call it, of course, on F1. But we will ride on board with Speedster, I think. We'll go on board with the American. That is one of his home tracks. And the American will be hoping, so I think he might have just picked up a race director invalidation, possibly, as he now comes around the final corner, taking the traditional time trial F1 line there. Speedster now across the line to start off on his lap, and the start-finish line is different here in Circuit of the Americas compared to Formula 1. Formula 1 obviously uses the first straight pretty much as you come out the corner. The second start-finish line is down towards halfway in between turn 1 and the initial first start-finish line. Yeah, very interesting. Speedster coming through the S section. It is a Herman Tilke design track, this, born in 2012. This track, of course, in Formula 1, but has been used for other instances like GT World Challenge and, amongst other things as well, some of the Endurance Series, I think, took place around here. The World Endurance Championship, I think, took place here 2018 or 2019, if I'm not mistaken. So Speedster now on a lap coming down towards turn 10. Nice out of there from Speedster, now running down the long kilometre straight down towards turn number 11. And this is a very tricky corner, of course, out on track for Speedster and indeed for all of these cars to really grasp a handle of, but go on board with a lap during the duration of this qualifying session. It's going to be quite a long lap around here as well, so don't be surprised if you see lap times in around the 140s, 150s maybe. Don't know in terms of lap times, but certainly we're going to be seeing a differentiation in the lap times that we're going to be seeing. Speeds now around the final couple of corners, coming through 14, 15 and 16. Well, this is now 10, 15, then coming through 16, 17 and 18. Now coming round Verstappen corner, and not looking too bad through there. But looking through into turn 19, speeds are really on a flying lap here. Can the American go to the top of the timing boards? Aguilera is about to come across the line. I think Mata is about to come out the pit lane as well. Aguilera across the line, 158.2, and that should be bettered by Speedster. And across the line he comes. Yeah, 57.1, a second clear. Darren Sinclair across the line. He goes second, 2 tenths off Speedster, so it's going to be really intriguing to see if they stay like that. Andy is coming through the final sector as well. We have got other laps going on as well from the likes of Flaky and Rest at Home and Bart as well. With Andy with 5 minutes gone in qualifying. Speedster out on top, Sinclair second, Aguilera third, Rest at Home has gone fourth, Bart has gone fifth, and Andy now out on track. Andy really not a liker of this track at all. He was saying before we came live that the curbs are really, really fearsome for these cars, and with them being quite light as well, it's going to be a real challenge, I think, especially an hour-long race around here at Circuit of the Americas. Andy goes fifth though, pops himself with a 59.1. Mata is on a lap as well. I think he's just fresh out the pit lane actually, Mata. So we'll see how he gets on. Flaky's back into the pit lane, but early braking rights go to Speedster. We'll run him back on board with him, because he is looking quicker than Aguilera out on track. Certainly on this lap, so we'll see if he's improving coming towards the middle sector split. All the splits, by the way, are the same as the Formula 1 track. Traditional one, Formula 1 track, and yes, Speedster 2 tenths up. So we hope to be seeing some good lap times here. We should see the 56s, maybe even the 55s come into tonight here in qualifying. And Speedster around the final couple of corners. Through 16, 17 and 18. It's really intriguing to see how these guys get on. The American, of course, who holds the keys to the championship, pretty much. Oh, and he's invalidated his lap time and it will go straight into the pit lane. Let's see if Sinclair is improving. Nope, he is not. Aguilera across the line. Improves 4 tenths of a second. 57.7 there from Aguilera. He goes third, with Racing Home still in fourth. And he might be improving here. Yeah, 7.5 tenths up, coming through the middle sector. So he will go ahead of Racing Home. Possibly ahead here of Aguilera as well. Matt has picked up an invalid lap as well. So I've got a nice drink right beside me. Nice lemon and lime. Which has really helped me through commentary tonight. I was struggling very much so in League of Europe with my voice towards the end, and certainly here it's going to be a struggle. And Andy now coming around the final couple of corners. I will give you some Season 6 updates during the stream as well. And I might leave that actually to next week, so you'll have to wait and find out for that one. Andy, though, about to come across the line. Two-time winner, of course, this season. Andy across the line, goes fourth, 1.3 seconds off Speedster. A nice lap there by the Scotsman. He goes in behind Aguilera. Of course, Bulldog Racing Team have already wrapped up the championship coming into tonight. So it is all about the Drivers' Championship between Speedster and Darren Sinclair. And here is Darren coming across the line, down on his lap time. Is Speedster... Oh yeah, Speedster just came out of the pit lane, so the American preparing up for his lap. Mata, I do believe, is on a lap here as well, unless he's invalidated again. So we'll see how the Brit is doing. Will Mata another winner this season? So we see Speedster right on the back of him. Mata really fighting the car out of turn 11 and gets out of the way, because it comes to show that he's not on a lap. Flicky, however, might be. He comes across the line. Not sure if this is to start off on a lap, or if this was to set one. It was to set one. It's a 208.1 on Flaky, and I think, to be honest, he will improve on that hand over fist. Halfway through qualifying though, Speedster on top, Sinclair second, Aguilera in third, Andy fourth, Rest Home in fifth, Bart sixth, Flaky seventh, and Mata in eighth position. No new names to remember for me tonight, so it's going to be quite an easy night, I think, in terms of the commentary. But we'll see how, of course, Flaky gets on this lap. And the Malaysian from the ILRT team, of course, 7 seconds up through the first sector, so already you're seeing an improvement as he flies out of turn 9 and runs downhill towards turn 10 and then towards turn 11. And this is where really tricky section of the track will come up in the final sector. First and third are quite technical. Second sector not so much because it's a big long back straight and really splits the two apart. Flaky now coming down the straight. We'll be hoping to see him improve. Beautiful helicopter cameras who run on board with him. 10.5 litres of fuel. The more fuel that goes down, of course, out on track might be the case for late pit stops towards the end of the race. We saw Speedster, of course, making pit stops, 2 weeks ago now, within the race there, and underfueled, completely underfueled. I think it was last time out in Fuji as well, where we had a 1-2, as Sinclair goes quickest, 56.7. Flaky, however, though, is going to be the next one to come across the line. So, Sinclair out on top, Speedster now second. Big championship implications, of course, tonight for the guys. It's mainly between those two. Andy is pretty much a shooter of a P3. Flaky with those Hot Wheels signs to the left-hand side of him, coming out of turn 19 and now through turn 20. And coming up towards the start-finish line, we'll see what his lap time is going to be. Remember, the start-finish line is here, rather than the one further down the track. Flaky across the line, he improves to a 2:01.2. Matter is on a lap as well. But I do believe we've got Speedster coming around the final couple of corners. We do. So Speedster now around the final couple of corners as Bart is invalidated. 4.5 minutes ago, Speedster really got to lay it on the line here. And hopefully the American can do just that. Andy is behind him out on track. Speedster around the final corner. Is he going to improve ahead of Darren? Darren with a 56.7. Speedster 57.1 currently. The American comes across the line. Goes second. Doesn't improve. I was expecting a big improvement there. Andy has just started off on a lap. I think Aguilera, is invalidated coming across the line. We'll see if he does improve though. He doesn't. He was invalid. So across the line, had to stay third. Matter, by the way, did come into 7th. So nice up there by Matter. 2:01.1 from him ahead of Flaky. Two LRT boys struggling though in terms of pace. Sinclair though out on top. Speedster second. And Aguilera in 3rd position. Who's now run aboard with the Spaniard, as he now comes out of turn number 6 and now through turn 7 and then up the hill through turns 8 and 9. 10th down through the first sector for the Spaniard. We'll get to the nitty gritty here within qualifying. Doing a good job so far, everyone out on track within qualifying. Quite a sparsely, well, I would say not a dense qualifying session, but the other way around. It is a very much a variation of qualifying in terms of the times. We've got Sinclair, for example, on 56.7, Flaky on a 2:01.2. So there's quite vastness, that's the word, vastness between 1st and 8th out on track. 4.5 seconds, 4.6 pretty much, if you're being picky. Aguilera now around turn 12 into the final sector. And he's 2 turns up through this middle sector. So we'll see if Aguilera can now improve. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock here in qualifying. And of course, we've got that hour-long race ahead of us. Hopefully, I will try and keep you entertained for the full hour. I hope there's going to be quite a lot of overtaking. There might be a safety car or two. We haven't had the need to call out a safety car, actually, so far, since they were introduced halfway through the season by Mr. Alan Cavagnaro, who has sadly now left the league, but Aguilera, in the meantime, coming around the final 2 corners, now through turn 20. Really controlled, really nice through there by Aguilera. Now comes across the line. And he comes across the line to set he's only 500 off Speedster, actually, so 157.1. Speedster is on a lap, so is Sinclair, who I think might be preparing for one, actually. Sinclair out of the final corner. This will be his final lap to set. Speedster will have another one possibly after this if he gets this one right. Or if he gets this one wrong, he will have another lap in him. But Speedster is the one to watch. The American. Let's see what he can do. Andy in the pit lane, Flaky in the pit lane. They are done. Racing at home, however, is in the final sector. I think he's just came out of the pit lane, actually. So we'll cut back on board. Oh, and Racing at home nearly losing control there through turn 13. But we'll go back on board with the homeboy, with the home crowd man, is Speedster, of course, currently out on a lap. as Part has retired from the session, or was retired back into the pit lane, I should say, so no improvement coming from the Dutchman. Speedster now coming out to the final, into the final sector now, and no improvement shown through the final, into the final sector. Now through 14 and 15, this is going to have to be a really good lap for him. Rest of home, by the way, has invalidated, so won't be improving. Speedster though through 16, 17 and 18. Let's see what the American can do. Is he going to improve? Around the final couple of corners. Through turn 19, in towards turn 20. Runs wide of the apex, but not too bad through there from the Speedster. Now around the final corner, and it looks actually... I'm not sure if he's actually came out the pit lane to prepare for a lap, so might be that case. Speedster though is one of the final ones to come across the line. We've got Sinclair on a lap through the middle sector. We've got Aguilera through the final sector as well. So Aguilera now coming on through the final corner. He's going to be the first to come across the line, I think. So Aguilera around the final corner, a bit twitchy. Now about to come across the line. Is he going to improve ahead of Speedster? Does he improve ahead of Darren across the line? No improvement at all. He will have another crack of the cherry though. That might be him done. Matter is on a lap. We've got Sinclair in the final corner. Let's see what Sinclair can do. Gotta lay it all on the line here, Sinclair. Is he going to try and find improvements? Scotsman for Bulldog Racing Team. Across the line. Goes quickest. Oh, by 0.5 of a second improvement. Sinclair with a 56.2. Speedster might have to respond to that. Matter is round the final corner. We will have Speedster. We'll watch on board with his lap, but that is qualifying over pretty much, apart from Speedster out on track. Matter now around the final corner. Will he go ahead of his teammate here? Matter should put in a good qualifying lap here across the line. And he does go 6th position. Only 2/10 off race to home in the end, but back on board with Speedster. Let's see what he's doing through the middle sector. Let's see what the American can do. 2/10 up, it's not enough to go. Pole position, he's going to have to set an absolute flyer of a final sector here. You see the best lap times there. Sinclair with a 56.2, Speedster with a 57 flat, Aguilera with a 57.1. And now Speedster has got to find 0.6 of a second, maybe even more than that, to break Sinclair's heart. The two championship contenders are going to start 1 and 2 on the grid no matter what. Speedster looking very clean out of turn 19. Now round the final corner. Can the American do it? Just a little bit wayward out the final corner, but Speedster now powers to the line and the LMP3. Can Speedster go quickest ahead of Sinclair? No, he's 2.5 short, and it is Sinclair who takes pole position by just 2.5 of a second. The Scotsman on pole. And he needs that. Speedster in second. Aguilera third. Andy in fourth. Top three separated by a second. Andy in fourth. 1.5 seconds off. Oh, and he goes straight into race. We're not hanging about here. Racing home in fifth. There's our team Matter. There's Bart. And there is Flaky. They round off 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th, of course. But with there only being 8 drivers, I will have to rush, I think, going through everyone. So 85 litres for Sinclair. 85 for Speedster, 85 Aguilera, same with Andy. Rest of the on 7 litres, that will change, I think, to 85. We'll watch that right-hand side of the screen very carefully indeed. And rest of home should change that, unless he's wanting to go 7 litres of fuel right at the beginning and then goes to the end of the race for the rest. No, 85 litres, there it is. Matter as well on 10 litres of fuel, that will change to 85, I would think. See that long down, the long run up the hill towards turn 1. Beautiful camera angle that. Matter should switch it to 85 litres. Might be one of the final things that he sets on that car. Got Bart on 85 and Flecky on 85. Matter still on 10 litres. We'll have to change that. 85 litres. He won't get 10 litres, of course, to the end of the race. Even if he does save up as much fuel as possible on the lowest fuel mixture possible, you cannot get to the end of the race. But we are just about ready, I think, with the exception of Matter, who will have to put in his fuel. Just about ready, I think, with all the rest of the drivers to begin here tonight in CRC LMP3 for round 12 of the championship. Only 2 more ends to go, including this one. Dubai next week, of course, for the season finale. And Matter, 10 litres of fuel it is for Matter. So He's starting very strangely, but we see the light sequence come on. We're about to begin here in America. And it's lights out and away we go. Sinclair gets a good start. Speedster will tuck back into the slipstream. Aguilera on the run up the hill as well. We'll try and go around the outside of Speedster. Speedster late on the brakes on the back of Sinclair. Everyone looking clean through though turn one. A little bit of a one wide actually from Aguilera. There's a little bit of damage there. The hoardings just go a little bit wayward. But through we go. And Sinclair leads the way by a tenth of a second. Speedster in second as we fly through. Speedster leading in second position, just making a slight mistake there. Oh, and there's contact in the background. That was Bart, I think, sent spinning by Flaky or Matter, one of the two. Yeah, Matter looks like he might be waiting up actually for Bart, and that might be the case. It's unfortunate. Bart in seventh. Matter in seventh, Bart in eighth after a result of contact. Sinclair leads on the run down towards turn 11 for the first time, and he leads by 1.5 seconds from Speedster in second. What a start from the Scotsman. Speedster in second, Aguilera in third position, Racing in fourth, Andy fifth, Flaky sixth, Matter seventh, and Bart in eighth position. So we are halfway through lap one already, and this race will go by I think quite quick with it being and we see a dicing battle actually with Andy trying to go around the outside of Racing Home. That is the best camera angle to come on board with. Andy makes a slight mistake coming out of the corner, tries to go switch back on Racing Home actually, but doesn't get the move done. A Matter on the back of Flaky, the two RRT Janettas now coming through in 6th and 7th. Speedster looks like he's put the hammer down a little bit now though. 1.1 is the gap to Darren. But Darren, of course, who will be crowned Rookie of the Season no matter what happens at the end, will lead the way from Speedster in second as we approach the end of lap one. Aguilera third, Racing Home in fourth, Andy fifth, Flaky sixth, Matter in seventh, Bart in eighth position. But, and the final corner, more than 2 minutes the first lap has taken. Won't be that much to be honest in terms of the lap times, but Sinclair across the line, 204.7, 206.1 for Speedster. Aguilera there in third position, Matter into the pit lane to repair slight damage I think that he might have picked up. Bart I think kept it at the wall, which is good to see. He's still continuing that in seventh. And yeah, Matter, he's coming in for fuel, that's why. Matter will be into the pits for fuel. Forgot to fill that up I think. Simple answer to that. Andy on the back of Racing Home. This is for fourth and fifth. Scotsman flying through. Wish the camera angles were a little bit more wide out here at this track to provide you with the best possible action, but Andy on the back of Racing Home, Speedster on the back of Sinclair, 0.8 of a second. As we are 3 minutes through already, and I'm really beginning to sweat up in the commentary box. Sinclair leads, Speedster second, Aguilera third. 3 seconds separating the top three, 2.5 now as they come down the straight. Speedster though running in the tail of Sinclair. Let's take an onboard shot from the cockpit of Speedster. And are we going to see a lightning quick championship battle between these two? Speedster. Got to be careful as well. We saw Speedster last week, of course. Oh, and Sinclair's made a mistake. Sinclair makes a mistake and Speedster through into the lead of the race. Just like that, race can change. And Speedster is through into the lead of the race. Sinclair completely messed up his braking zone. And wide he goes. Speedster into the lead of the race. And now, that might be championship secured. Will Speedster now begin to pull away from Sinclair, I wonder? It's a second already, the gap. Speedster pulling out the gap from Sinclair in second. There's Aguilera in third. Andy has spun as we come on board. Andy has spun, catching the curb through turn 17. He was looking quite close to the back of Racing Home there, but I don't think there was contact. Racing Home led on his merry way in fourth, but Andy now round in sixth position. So Andy now round in sixth. Matter in Matter in eighth, by the way, came out the pit. There he is, 83 litres of fuel now on that car. Speedster leading the way. Aguilera getting closer now to Sinclair as a result of that mistake. Speedster will be hoping, of course, to try and pull out the gaps. Don't think we'll see the lap times as quick as what we saw in qualifying, but you never know. As we ride on board with roof cam on Aguilera. He tries to hunt down the back of the Scotsman. Speedster leading Sinclair second, Aguilera in third. Oh, and actually Sinclair really making mistakes. He runs wide And that has cost him 3-4 tenths of a second to Speedster once again. Speedster pulling out in front. And a slight rise uphill towards turn 11. Regulator missing the apex completely there. But gets the run at the corner. 1.5 seconds off. Because the battle really out on track, if you can even call it a battle, to be honest. There's the helicopter cam as we run on board with Agulator. We are 5 minutes through. Speedster lead, Sinclair second, Agulator in third. And doing a good job out on track, all these guys. They're very evenly spaced out in terms of the timings. More so than others. But Speedster leading the way. 300 improvement through the middle sector for Agulators. We run on board with the leader now in the Ginetta. Most of these cars, I think everyone actually running the Ginetta here tonight, as opposed to the Ligier, which we've seen, of course, the alternative to the LMP3s. But Speedster out on top. 77.4 litres of fuel left. Early indications show that he might be saving up a little bit of fuel towards the end of the race to deploy and possibly get the undercut done on Sinclair and Agulator. But I don't think he'll need the undercut, to be honest. He is pulling away on natural pace. And the American doing a good job. Sinclair in second. Agulator in third as they come across the line. Lap times will improve up again. Agulator was quicker last time around compared to Sinclair. 3 tenths quicker even than Sinclair last time around. Speedster was a second, 1.3 seconds quicker than Sinclair and a second quicker than Agulator. So Speedster obviously getting the pace. It's only 2 seconds of gap. Gap is staying quite consistent. Speedster second, Agulator third. Trying to ball with Andy as he pursues down Flaky. This is for 5th and 6th position out on track. The Scotsman will be hoping for a good result out on track tonight. Didn't really go according to plan with that spin, but let's see what the Scotsman can do as we fly through. And actually, I think that was Agulator maybe just making a mistake. I think Agulator was actually spun, which we haven't caught on board with, but we saw him just recover that in front of camera shot. Flaky is wide here. Andy is going to be up to P5. Thank you very much, says Andy. Didn't even need to roll out onto trackside cam for that one because you knew Andy was going to get the move done. And Andy back through and he's up to 5th. So Agulator spun. Must have been on the curb coming out of turn 6 where he has spun. Agulator now under pressure from Andy. And this is now for a P4 battle. We're right on board with Andy on the back of Agulator. 2.5 seconds the gap between Speedster and Sinclair. They're all doing a good job out on track so far. Nearly 10 minutes gone. Speedster lead. On there goes Agulator wide. Not sure if he's got damage on that car. But Andy really pressurising Agulator here. Right on the back. Oh, they make contact actually. Side to side contact. Agulator defends the inside line. Andy trying to switch it around the outside line. And now Andy will get the move done. Agulator just gives up on that one. Andy is through. And he's up into 4th position. So Andy getting some good judgment calls. Mistakes made by Agulator and Flaky force him up into 4th position. So Andy now on for good points all. Sinclair is keeping Speedster honest out in front. 2.5 seconds the gap. Speedster was slightly slower last time around. Sinclair was slower again though by 5 tenths of a second. And right on board once again. Flaky having a good race so far. He's on the back of Agulator. Agulator not really liking this car. Not really liking this track, I don't think. And this track can be feared by many Project Cars 2 drivers out on track. Project Cars 3, of course, comes out during next season, or during next week, I should say. Next Friday it comes out. And I think the plans are, if I'm not mistaken, that Season 6 is going to be run on Project Cars 3. No pit stops, obviously, but there is going to be a race format change and championship changes as well, which I'll reveal towards the end of the stream. So make sure you tune in for that. I think he just got in the corner there slightly. Agulator there in 5th. Not really much going on. This is quite that's a day for opening 10 minutes. It's not really much action. It is quality over quantity though, hopefully. And Speedster leads. Gap has came down slightly, and that is why, because Sinclair's 6 tenths up on his personal best. So Sinclair now beginning to come into contention. Maybe just saving up a little bit of fuel. Early fuel indication, 72.2 for them both. So Speedster is right on level terms. Maybe 0.1, 0.2 more Sinclair has over Speedster, but Sinclair currently in second. This will prove to be a tactical race between these two, and will prove to be quite an interesting watch, I think, if you are one of those people that do like endurance races and do like hour-long races. We are 10 minutes through, though, for everyone that is tuning in. Speedster leads, Sinclair second, Racing Home in third, Andy fourth, Agulator fifth, Flaky sixth, with Barton seventh, who has picked up a penalty, so we'll ride on board. We'll have a look at the timings for that. It's a 2-second penalty, so that is just corner cutting indicative. But doing well in 7th position, and Matter, of course, after his fuel mess up, he's down there in 8th position early on. So we ride on board actually with everyone going around out on track. Hopefully everyone enjoying the stream so far. Obviously we have had a couple of dislikes on the stream. If you want to just dislike the stream and bugger off, then that's your opinion. I'm not bothered. Speedster leading the way though. Sinclair in second. 2 seconds the gap. Sinclair will be hoping to try and get the undercut, possibly obviously with fuel in mind. And Scotsman will be hoping to try and close in on Speedster. Looks like the gap is staying quite stagnant, quite consistent at this stage. There's not really much going on, as I say. Agulator is trying to get onto the back of Andy. Andy actually was a second quicker than Agulator last time around. But Andy doing a good job in fourth. Agulator in fifth, Flaky sixth. But hopefully we're going to be seeing the action pick up out on track. And while there is a little bit of a break in the action, I'm going to take a slight break and we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Agulator's beginning to come back at Andy now. 1.6 seconds separating out on track. And the Spaniard beginning to hunt down the Scotsman. Looks like he's got back into his rhythm after that the early mistakes. That Sinclair, by the way, was quicker last time around than Speedster. 0.4 of a second quicker. Indicative of the gap closing down. It's 1.7 seconds now. The gap, it's now 1.5. Sinclair beginning to close the gap down. This track looks like it's sponsored by Hot Wheels though, and hopefully nobody will be beating that out on the stream. Well, that's a terrible one, I know. Racing Home in third, currently lining up for himself on the podium positions. But Sinclair as well beginning to close in, and this is why Speedster should not be discounted for the win here. Obviously Sinclair beginning to close him down. Speedster holding all the key to the holding the key to the throne pretty much out on track so far as we approach the 15-minute mark. Of course, next week for TTML, we do go to... we do go to Canada next week for TTML. So if you are interested in viewing TTML during the week, of course, on Tuesday, Thursday and Friday, then tune in for that. And I will have an announcement on the Division 5 stream about... the departure of Paco Suarez, which I'm sure you guys might have not necessarily known about. We might have teased that on Friday, but we can confirm that Paco is leaving, sadly, Division 5 for TTML. But I do wish him well in his future endeavours, and I'll give him a proper tribute and a proper send-off on Friday night. But a brand new commentator will be joining me in the commentary box, and I'm thrilled to announce that is QVR Dakar that is going to be tuning in. Daniel Hoggard, who is the commentator of the season, currently in League of Europe, beat me to the title, but I'm sure there'll be no love lost there. But it is going to be quite interesting. I think that is a strong pairing for Division 5. Not, frankly, saying about any other commentary partnership, including myself with others, but honestly, Dakar is a great commentator. I'm sure you will love him, and I'm sure Division 5 will be the home of the great racing on Friday night, along with Division 4 for TTML as well. But back to the short term, and Sinclair is now closing in once again on Speedster. Speedster looks like he might be just saving up the fuel. 65.3 litres compared to 65.2, so they're pretty much even Stevens in terms of fuel. And I think Speedster is playing this one a little bit more well, cards close to his chest, I think, is the best way to describe it. I think Speedster has learned from his mistake of last week of the fuel situation, and obviously he'll be trying now to get away from Sinclair behind him. It's 1.8 seconds, the gap has now widened out, but now we're developing battle for third, and a potential overtake, I hope to give you on the stream here tonight. I know it's been quite boring the first 15 minutes of this race, but Speedster leads Sinclair second. Here is Andy though on the back of Racing Home. Racing Home now under pressure is Aguilera. You see there running wide in 5th position, and his hunt down to try and get the move done. But now the Scotsman, don't think he's quite close enough. Obviously there would be DRS on Formula 1, but there is no DRS here of course. Andy is just lifted and coasting. You heard that actually with the brake. He just lifted and coasted going into the corner. And Andy once again lifted and coasted into the corner. 64.4 litres of fuel left. Oh, Racing Home send it sideways slightly. And now Andy all over the back of him. And you can probably see where this one is going to be lined up, to be honest. Sinclair's made a mistake. He's now 3 seconds behind Speedster. The Speedster now out in front by 3 seconds out on track. Sinclair in second, Racing Home in third, Andy in fourth. You can hear the lift and coast once again. We're on above with bumper cam now this time. Andy on the back of Racing at Home. Doing a good job so far. Obviously, Andy making that mistake early on, which we caused through the final 2 corners. You see, actually, just in the foreground shot, that's Sinclair going through turn 1 up the hill. Andy now on the back of Racing Home. We're only on lap 9, so there's plenty more of action still to come, I hope. Andy, oh, Racing Home's gone too deep, and now Andy down the inside line. Job done. It is side by side coming out, so this could be an overtake done. But no, Racing Home has the position, has the key to hold off Andy for now. And pressurises Andy into a slight mistake actually there. And Andy nearly going round. Racing Home now in third. Camera angle was quite divisive there, to be honest. Aguilera now getting into the back of these two. So, 3-way battle for third developing. I'm just going to briefly put on my lights because it's getting very dark here in the commentary box, as it is pretty much everywhere now in the UK. Aguilera on the back of Andy. Andy in turn on the back of Racing Home. Racing Home again makes a slight mistake, and now Andy might see the opportunity coming in front of him. These three are really beginning to fight each other. It's nice side by side between Andy and Racing Home down the straight. Aguilera will try and get a double toe. Is he going to try and get the move done down in towards turn number 3 and turn number 12, I should say. Andy around the outside, Racing Home on the inside line. Aguilera nearly going down the middle, and eventually they stay as they are. So Racing Home stays in third. Andy doesn't have to fight really for anything out on track. Obviously to wrap up P3 really out on track, but Andy doesn't really have to fight for anything in terms of the constructors, because Bulldog Racing Team have already wrapped up the constructors with 2 races to go. They wrapped it up last week, of course, in Fuji. So Andy will be hoping to try and get some valuable points for Bulldog Racing Team and try and defend off the attentions of Racing Home, who's in front of him currently. And the final corner we go, with 20 minutes pretty much gone. There is your leader, Speedster, now 5 seconds clear of Sinclair, with Racing Home in third, and Racing Home takes the inside line. That was a very strange inside line taken there by Racing Home. I've never seen anybody do that before. Andy on the back of him, Aguilera as well on the back, and they're only separated by less than a second. It's 0.6 of a second between these three. Take it from Aguilera's perspective as we come through. Oh, and Racing Home spun! Racing Home spins. You might have seen the car to the left-hand side. Racing Home has spun. That's why we went on board with Aguilera, to try and pick up on anything that was happening in front. And Aguilera now takes P4. Racing Home all the way down to P5. So Andy gets the position. Not in the way he probably would have wanted. But Andy is through now, and he's up into P3. Aguilera takes P4 as well. And I've just realised, actually, I've got rid of something at the top. There we are. There's the overview back. Did get rid of something. Speedster leads, only on to lap 10. Sinclair in second, trying to hunt him down. 7/10 down. And actually, Speedster is lapping very consistently now. 58.2. 58.5 litres of fuel left for Speedster. 58.6 for Sinclair. So again, around the same limit. Andy saving fuel. 59.3. Beautiful camera angle that is, coming through turn 12. Have to love it. Hopefully that's fixed for Project Cars 3. It'll be very interesting actually, because Project Cars 3 apparently won't have private lobbies at launch. Codemasters not putting private lobbies on at launch, but apparently they're going to be released up to a month after the initial launch date. So if we are going to be running obviously on Project Cars 3, it will be quite intriguing, I think, to see obviously the new graphics, the new physics of the game as well, but also the new spectator cam, which has been tinkered with, I think. We have got a... I thought we had a battle there going on. It's Bart running by himself on the back straight. I don't know why I thought that was two cars going together, but still. Andy in third, Agulator in fourth. So again, I get rid of the overview. What is wrong with me today? Agulator now on the back of Andy. This is up in towards turn one. And Agulator to the inside line. Andy's still there on the inside line though, coming through turn two, and holds on to the position for now. The Scotsman against the Spaniard. Spaniard has really done well in these races. Agulator, of course, coming from CRC GT3 last season, the Division 2 champion. And Andy, of course, coming from the TTL Project Cars back in the day, which was fantastic to commentate on. Obviously, we had the two series running there. We have got a battle, though. Racing at Home has spun again. That is coming through the S section, I think, this time. And now Flaky is through, and he's up to P5. We caught on board with that late, but Racing at Home was round, so Flaky up to P5. But Agulator on the back of Andy. It went down to the final race, remember, in CRC GT3 with Agulator. He won it right at the death. Is he now going to take this overtake with 38 minutes left on the clock for third position on Andy? He switches to the inside line. Let Andy know I think he's there. Both of them break nicely into the curb, and Andy holds on to the position for now. But it's going to be quite intriguing, I think, this battle for third and fourth. Racing at Home, he picks up the pace once again. Sorry, if he picks up the pace once again, Flaky will be under pressure, I think, from Racing at Home, probably in the next 3 laps or so, I would imagine. But I have to take on board with this guy again, Speedster, who does lead the way out in front. Been a totally dominant affair once again from the American. Sinclair in second, Andy third, Agulator fourth. Agulator still keeping Andy honest for third position. As we ride on board, coming round the final corner, across the start-finish line. Flaky, Racing at Home, Bart and Matter. Matter might be one to watch out for, actually, towards the end of the race. I know I might be absolutely mad by saying that, but trust me, Bart has been making mistakes in front of him. Matter pitted early for fuel. He will get to the end of the race guaranteed. These guys might not. Matter will pick up positions. Matter could be on for top 5. I'm not beating around the bush there by saying that, but hopefully it might be right, because it pit stop around here something like 40-45 seconds, so in theory you'll see probably Matter in 4th or 5th come towards the end of the race, if these guys obviously pit for fuel. If they don't, then that strategy, what I've just said, is pretty much gone out the window. But it'll be very interesting to see. Racing at Home is catching Flaky again. A second separating these guys out on track. And so Racing at Home was 6 seconds slower last time around, 2 laps ago actually. Racing at Home now 9 seconds slower than Flaky, obviously with that mistake that he made. And again, just getting slightly twitchy coming out of the corner. But doing a good job to try and keep in there on the back of Flaky. It is 1.2 seconds as we ride on board with the roof cam. You see Flaky trying to defend the inside line, and Racing at Home, 52 litres of fuel. You see him lifting and coasting into the corner, and I think that might be the strategy out on track, as I think Sinclair has spun out on track. Sinclair has just recently spun out on track, quicker last time around than Speedster, but not this time around. Gap was 6, it's now 12.3. So Sinclair not really liking things now out on track, and that is determined actually by that fastest lap of the race. Andy now 11 seconds off, and Agulator has been for a spin as well. So Agulator has been for a spin, so he's now back down in P4 by 9 seconds. Flaky now in 5th. Racing at Home though is on the back of Flaky. It's 1.2 seconds separating these guys out on track with 35 minutes to go. Matter and Bart, by the way, still going around in 7th and 8th as well. We'll just see if Bart's penalties has picked up any more. No, 2 seconds still there. There's the best lap times. Speeds are well ahead of everyone in terms of lap time. 58.2 compared to Sinclair with a 59.4 and Agulator with a 59.8. It's a case, I think, of trying to not overrun the curbs too much and try and stay in a straight line. I think, honestly, that might be the case. But Racing Home, in the meantime, a second off back of Flaky. I'll be hoping to see Racing Home on the back of Flaky in the next couple of laps also. There is the Malaysian in 5th position with 34.5 minutes going down. So we're nearly through the halfway stage here. And of course, if you have liked what you have seen so far, not much, but if you have liked what you've seen so far, then do like, comment, subscribe. Tick that notification bell if you are new. And follow the league on Twitter at Competitive Racing Club. So you can have a look at that on Twitter. That's where all the points will be updated and everything like that. But a reminder of the points actually coming into tonight. Theoretically, Speedster will be champion at the end of tonight if it stays as it is. He was 23 points ahead coming into tonight on 169. Sinclair was second on 146. So that was the gap coming into tonight. Andy was in third on 116. With Matter's poor performance and Racing Home's poor performance so far, Andy will be snatching third. I think he'll be wrapping up that tonight. But the battle for fourth will be quite interesting. Racing Home, Flaky and Matter will be that battle for fourth, and currently Flaky is outscoring both Racing Home and Matter for that position, so it could be the LRT Janetta that holds the key to the cards for fourth position for that. That will go into the final race of the season as it stands, but plenty of action still to go. Bart, by the way, has slowed down completely here and has came to a stop. He hasn't run out of fuel. He's not serving up a penalty. I wonder if actually he might be waiting up for Matter. It's not the greatest thing to see, to be honest, on stream, if I've got to be honest, especially from our new owner here in CRC, but is going to wait up for Matter. It's a fair thing. It's going to provide some action out on track, but really is it necessary to wait up 30 seconds for a driver and to have a fight? It doesn't make sense to me, to be honest. Been a little bit critical there, but yeah, I'd rather see these guys get on and run in their positions that they were in, but now Bart and Matter are going to have that fight. It's going to provide some viewing, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's a bit strange that one. Matter, there's the leader, by the way, Speedster, coming around just in the background of Shop, coming through turn 19. There he is, just appearing into Shop. Matter now on the back of Bart. We'll take it though back with Racing Home, who is gaining on Flaky out on track. You can see the gap. That is what 1.2 seconds looks like out on track, coming down in towards the turn 12 braking zone. And Racing Home, the Brit, currently on the back of the Malaysian of LRT Flaky. And Flaky, actually, I should say, is an LRT man. It's the LRT Janetta team, of course. But he doesn't have LRT in his name, so yeah, it's a bit strange, but yeah, he is an LRT member, and now Racing Home is chasing him down once again. You just see Flaky change of correction now, actually coming through turn 16. Racing Home taking a much neater and deeper line coming through the Verstappen corner at turn 18. And runs wide. No Hot Wheels signs, by the way, being taken out to the right-hand side, and no holdings were injured coming out of turn 1. Racing Home on the back of Flaky, and that is, as I say, what 1 second looks like now. Very consistent in terms of lap times. Racing Home was quicker by 0.5 of a second last time around. Andy, by the way, was nearly as quick as Speedster last time around. It will be intriguing to see. Matter is on the back of Matter is on the back of Bart. Bart there in 7th, Matter in 8th. And there is Speedster, just in the background of shot. You can see him there in the Monster Energy car. He's 13.5 seconds now ahead of Sinclair. And it is a dominant affair from Speedster. We might be crowning the champion here tonight. Nothing really to lose next week then. If that is the case, we will have Constructors and Drivers' Championships wrapped up. Now Matter, round turn 18, now comes onto the back of Bart once again. 0.6 per second separate. Halfway through, here in CRC, oh, and the Hot Wheels board nearly got taken out there by Matter. Rejoin on the track, oh, Bart's round. Bart is round, and Matter decides to get out of the way of Speedster and decides to wait up for him. So again, it's one of those situations. Bart waited up for Matter. Oh, Matter crashes into the wall. Oh, and Matter and Bart have taken each other out. And to be honest, not the greatest thing to see. We cut on board with a battle that is actually worthy of riding on board with, and that is racing home on the back of Flaky. It's disappointing to see, especially if you're an owner of the league who is making contact with another driver. Talk about standards and everything, but racing home on the back of Flaky. It is 1.2 seconds, so it is the closest battle that we have out on track that is worthy of riding on board with just under halfway of this race to go. And will be interesting to see. Let's actually look through at the leaders, because I want to see what the fuel is like for Speedster compared to Sinclair. It'll probably be the same of the level as what we've seen. Speedster on 43 litres and Sinclair on 43.7. So this is where I think now Speedster's beginning to let the fuel go down to him. He was great early on in the race, but now Speedster really beginning to lengthen that fuel out, and it's about 0.7, 0.8 difference between Speedster and Sinclair. That could be the difference, honestly, between getting home with a full tank of fuel, or as much of a tank of fuel as possible with literally about 5 minutes to go, or these guys will have to pit, and it will force a good battle happening toward the end of the race. Racing home, though, is on the back of Flaky. Flaky now under a hell of a lot of pressure, the LRT man. And this is something that we like to see. Racing home on the back of Flaky. And hopefully we'll get to see an overtake, which will be very rare and what we haven't seen so far this race. Racing home down the inside line. Flaky later on the brakes, but Racing home through. Beautiful move by Racing home. That is why Racing home goes up into 5th position, because he just pulled that off to great effect. Very late on the brakes. Flaky was later on the brakes, trying to go around the outside line, but Racing home sign, seals and delivers 5th position. Great move there by Racing home. The breakthrough on the Malaysian, and good to see good battle, and actually Racing home runs wide, so this is going to continue on. Bart into the pit lane to replace Damage. Matter into the pit lane to replace Damage. Them two are doing their own thing. Flaky on the back of Racing home. 43.5 seconds. Oh, Speedster's had a mistake, I think, actually. Speedster spun. Speedster has spun out of turn 2. And what on earth has happened here with Speedster? 6 litres of fuel. I wonder if there's a safety car being called, to be honest. Has there a safety car being called out on track? I think there might have been. We'll see. See if Sinclair actually comes up to the back of Speedster. That'd be the biggest indicator. If not, that is just a spin. It might be one of those VSCs. It might be running at 40% level. But now, Speedster 1.7 seconds off. Yeah, safety car looks like it has been deployed. So Speedster in this turn is the leader of the safety car queue. Everyone else is now catching back up. Andy 3rd, Agulator 4th, Racing home in 5th, Flaky in 6th. Safety car good. Not really why on earth it was called, to be honest, but then again, make up your own rules. Very strange. Sinclair is on the back of Speedster. They're about 0.8 of a second away from each other. There is Andy in 3rd position. So we should see the race getting restarted soon. It is a good thing to try out the safety cars, but yeah, I'm going to leave my political point of view to later on, I think, in Discord. Agulator in 4th, Racing home in 5th, Flaky in 6th. Good job that Racing home did get past, by the way, on Flaky. There is Matter and sorry, that is Bart, and there is Matter coming out of turn number 1 and 2. But now, with the safety car deployed, it's time I take a break, I think. The safety car is staying, out on track, obviously, these guys. But they have let Bart go, and they will let Matter go, I think, as well. So this appears to me a ploy to get everyone onto the same lap of the race. It is good from a viewing point of view, and I know you guys might be commenting in the comment section saying, well, what's the point? What is the point really in there being a safety car? It wasn't really needed to be called. There was no contact. My impression of a safety car deployment is that there's a massive collision, which there wasn't. So it's really strange. They're coming through the S section now, and I've got to say everyone's sticking to the right length out on track, but yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. Bart in 7th, there is Matter in 8th. Matter is approaching the back of the safety car queue. And of course, remember in Formula 1, where we normally have in TTML, what we saw last night in Division 5, the cars, the safety car, those that were lapped have to stay behind and pretty much interfere with the drivers. So that's another point that I can point out as well to everyone that might be not familiar with the racing here in CRC and indeed in TTML. But Matter is getting onto the back. Bart, by the way, is on the other side of the track. Honestly, we're going to be, if I'm going to be honest, we're going to have about 10 minutes left by the time these two get round to the back of the safety car queue. Speedster, though, is out in front. And they're maintaining about 70 miles an hour, which is not too bad. There is Matter, by the way, who will be let through here, I think. We should see the ploy. Yeah, Matter is coming through. And Speedster lets him through. So Matter nearly outdoing his braking zone there, to be honest, at the turn 12. But he is now on the same lap. Speedster well out ahead of everyone else. Sinclair 2nd, Andy in 3rd. I wonder if we're getting prepared for a restart, possibly between these 6. Be good to see from a point of view. But then again, it's really only going to space things out because Speedster is quicker than every single other driver out on track. I mean, the timings can confirm this for me. 158.2, 159.4, 159.8, 159.8. Speedster is quicker than everyone else. It's just going to be the case of Speedster possibly pulling away underneath the safety car. With 22 minutes left to go on the clock, we should have Bart and Matt around maybe within the next lap or so, unless we are going to get the restart here. Looks like Speedster, though, is maintaining that 6th gear, so it looks to me as if the safety car is not going to be coming in at least this lap around. Well, the safety car can't come in this lap around, but we will get the race underway as soon as reasonably possible. You can see them maintaining the speed. 20 minutes to go. At least this is wasting time, I think, of on-track action. But goodness knows, somebody could have spun, we could have had a battle, and yeah, it would have been hunky-dory, but we'll have to wait and see. Speedster, Darren, Andy, your top 3. Agulator, Racing Home, Flaky, Matter, Bart, and Matter, filling out 7th and 8th position. Let's see what you guys have been saying in the comment section here for CRC. And let me have a look. Yeah, thank you to everyone that is viewing in, of course, here tonight for CRC LMP3. Really much appreciated. If you have been a fan of the league for the last 11 races, and round 12 obviously tonight, you will have seen that Season 6 plans are to be released. And I think it's been officially announced within the Discord that we will have 2 new championships. I, however, sadly will not be here next season for CRC. I may as well say it now. I'm not going to be here for CRC next season. I'm going to be putting my attentions more to Formula 1. So you will be seeing more of me on Formula 1 rather than Project Cars 2 or on GT Sport, for example, commentating on there. So it is a shame. I am going to be leaving at the end of the season after 2 seasons here in CRC, but I'm sure the commentary box will be left in the capable hands of whoever decides to take over from myself in the commentary box. It is going to be a shame, But I think it will come at the right time, and I want to refocus my own priorities. And I know Formula 1, you guys enjoy Formula 1. We've got more viewers on there. I'm committed to that, and I'm committed to delivering the best commentaries possible. So I think that is why I will go onto the F1 side more than anything else. Doesn't really make a difference, to be honest. I'm already on there 3 times a week anyways for TTML so far. But it is a shame. But we should see the safety car, or the safety car period end. It looks like we are going to be back underway very soon. We can see Bart joining onto the back. Still waiting for Mata. We might be out for another lap at least. To be honest, I would call the safety car... The safety car technically could be deployed in a way where Mata could obviously rejoin onto the back, down the back straight. That could be an indicator, and obviously you'll get people racing and hopefully overtakes flowing down in towards the final couple of corners. But coming around the final couple of corners now, you see Speedster in second gear. I wonder if this is going to be the restart. Now, it is difficult to judge. I haven't even called a safety car on Project Cars 2 in my life, so this is the first one that I'm doing. But it looks like we are going to get back underway. Speedster takes out the wide out line through the final corner, takes first gear, and it looks like we're formatting up. And here we go. Speedster is back underway. We are back underway for the final 20 minutes of action here in CRC LMP3, and it is Speedster who takes us across the line out in front. But look at Andy's restart. He's on the back of Sinclair, and look at Flaky defending off Bart as well. Bart trying to go around the outside on Flaky. Oh, nearly into the back of Racing, and home he goes. Darren Sinclair has run out wide, and Sinclair's got a problem. Sinclair lets everyone through, and he's back down to P7, and that's major for the championship. Speedster now out in front by a second from Andy. Aguilera in third. Pretty much what I said has just happened. Speedster pulling away from everyone else out on the grid, and now really beginning to hammer away from the rest of the field. 1.3 seconds the gap. Aguilera third, Racing home in fourth. Flaky in fifth. Barton sixth. Sinclair seventh. I feel sorry for Mata. He's down there in eighth position. He would have been hoping that the safety car would have stayed out until the back straight, I think. It would have been fairer, I think, to have all 8 on the back of the safety car, but still, you can't have your own way. Speedster leading the way, though. The American at his home track with 17 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Andy in second, Aguilera third, Rest of home in fourth, Flecky fifth, with Barton sixth. Sinclair now down to seventh after that mistake. You can see him weaving the tyres actually in the background, and Sinclair not happy at all. He will have a lot of fuel left to the end of the race. He's trying to get rid, I think, of possibly what might be grass or dirt or something on his tyres, or it might have been a wheel calibration issue, which he did have in the Nürburgring. If you remember, the car just went violently out to the left as Racing Home has spun on the inside there. As we spot him, there he is, rejoining track. Racing Home has taken out the Pirelli board, but rejoins track now back down in 7th position. So Sinclair, championship hopes going by the wayside. It was unlikely, I would say, as well, to be honest, with Sinclair trying to win this tonight, but it is all about this man here, Speedster. Comes around the final corner to start what is lap 21 out on track, and he leads by 2.5 seconds nearly from Andy in second. Aguilera now in third. Flaky in fourth. Having a good race now, Flaky. Malaysian has been a little bit inconsistent so far. Obviously, he was having that move with Racing Home. You can see again Sinclair running down the straight, weaving, flashing the lights slightly there as well. I wonder if there is honestly that wheel calibration issue coming back to haunt him possibly, and it just disconnected coming through turn 1. That's what might have happened there. It was a similar timeline to what we saw in Nürburgring as well, so it might have made sense. Racing Home though is on the back in 7th, and there's Pure LRT Mata down there in 8th position. You have to feel sorry for Mata, pitting in early. Safety car obviously did come out that period that we had, and he didn't join onto the back. Andy on the back of Speedster. 2 seconds the gap as we come through turn 12, but look at Speedster just pulling away. Aguilera though. We're on board with Aguilera, the Spaniard, who is on the back here of Andy. And by the way, the season 6 plans that we've got for you guys for CRC, or that Bart will have for you guys for CRC, will include the Radicals and the touring cars. I can exclusively announce within this race that we will have the Radical and the touring cars out on track next season for season 6 of CRC. But it's going to be one of those things. I'm going to miss CRC, honestly. I think it's been a great league. Obviously, as I go forward, though, my priorities change, and it is just one of those things. Here comes Racing at Home, though. Trying to switch the inside line on Sinclair. Sinclair really struggling for pace now. He runs wide again. And now Racing at Home, I fear, is going to go right around the outside here. But no, Sinclair hangs on down the inside line and stays in P6. But there is Racing at Home through, and there actually is Bart spinning. So Bart is spun. Looks like there's a bit of damage on that car, possibly. Sinclair in 6th. Bart now down into 7th. Racing at Home up to 5th. Sinclair down to 6th as a result of that. So plenty of action now happening. Apart from the overtaking that is lacking. Agulator on the back of Andy. This is for 2nd and 3rd. Speedster leads by a good 3 seconds nearly now from Andy. From Agulator in 3rd. Flecky 4th. Racing at Home 5th. Sinclair 6th. With Bart in 7th. And LLC Matter in that 8th position out on track. Back on board with Racing at Home as Sinclair now hunts him down. 7 tenths per second separating as we come through. Racing at Home just runs wide there. Sinclair now trying to go around the outside. Actually ducks offline slightly. But the Scotsman is still there. And is hounding the back of Racing at Home. And Sinclair right on the back. Here he comes. Down the inside of turn 10. They're side by side now running down towards turn 11. And Sinclair will duck back into the slipstream. May try and get the undercut down into turn 11. No, Racing at Home quicker out the corner. Very rare to see. Racing at Home has just absolutely bolted away from Sinclair coming out of turn 12. And Sinclair, his race I know has really fallen apart here tonight. His championship hopes have fallen by the wayside as well. But it is unfortunate. We will, of course, as it stands, we will only have 2 interviews rather than 3. I'm sure I'll try and conduct a Discord interview as well with Agulator while we do that. But Speedster and Andy will have their mics on. They'll be coming into the commentary box to join me alongside me in the commentary box for the interviews right at the end of the stream. 12 minutes and 40 seconds roughly to go in what has been, to be honest, a lacklustre race in terms of action that is happening out on track. And I don't blame you guys for tuning out or anything like that. It is just purely the nature of endurance racing. Speedster does lead the way though by 4 seconds. Andy in 2nd. Just improve actually. A 10th up on his personal best there, Andy. Agulator in 3rd. Flaky really come under the radar, I think, this race so far. The Malaysian having a much better weekend than last week, obviously, in Fuji, where I think he finished like 7th or 8th, if I'm not mistaken. So Flaky doing a good job. Racing at Home, by the way, and Sinclair back up the inside line of Racing at Home. He gets the move done. Sinclair now up to 5th. Racing at Home down to 6th. Good move there by the Scotsman up the hill and towards turn 1. The characteristic of Sinclair pulling off these late moves. We see flying through the S section. Racing at Home has spun. Getting caught on the curb. The curb has flimmed off. He luckily will get the car going. And he kept the car going actually very nicely indeed. So Racing at Home in 6th. Bart still in 7th. And Matt are actually catching up in 8th with Bart's mistake. But there is the leader. There is Speedster out in front. Everyone will be fine on fuel, by the way, come towards the end of this race. With 11 minutes to go and 26 litres of fuel left, everyone will be fine. Everyone saved up the fuel, it seemed, under that safety car period. Speedster, though, leading the way from Andy in 2nd position. Agulator 3rd, Flaky 4th, Sinclair 5th, Racing at Home in 6th, Bart in 7th. And Matter in 8th position. We're pretty much back to square one after the safety car period, to be honest. I knew this was going to happen. When you Constantine are filled up, I know it's LMP3s and overtaking is pretty much hard as it is anyways. But when you have cars like this and endurance racing like this, and a pace differentiation like this as well for all the drivers, Speedster is just in a different class of his own. Andy is keeping up though. It's 3 seconds the gap. Andy is really keeping up. Coming through the final corner. Speedster, I think, has spun out the final corner, has he there? Yeah, I think he has. The Speedster making a mistake coming out of the second to last on the last corner. That's indicative. On the left-hand side, you see Andy 3 seconds quicker than Speedster last time around, but only gains half the time as a result. It could bring Agulator into play for 3rd and possible for a shout of the win, but now Andy is closer to Speedster. Speedster does not want to make another cock-up out on track. Otherwise, it could be game on again for Sinclair and his championship hopes. Speedster improving 300s quicker through the first sector. It might have been the case actually where we might just go for the fastest lap. And that is now indicative, I think, because it's now 2 seconds the gap. Speedster really beginning to pull out that gap. 10 minutes to go. Speedster leads, Andy second, Aguilera third, Flecky fourth, and Speedster slowing down. Waiting up for Andy possibly at the final corner, and not sure what's going on here. They're back up to speed. Speedster has got Andy all over the back of him. Andy really fighting here. Is the Scotsman going to come here for an overtake on Speedster? No. As the answer to that. Speedster runs wide. Andy fighting. Aguilera's not too far off. They don't want to be too complacent, I think. Especially Speedster. He doesn't want to be too complacent. Obviously, he wants to give Andy a battle, and he wants to provide the good viewing for us out on track. But, honestly, he doesn't want to be too complacent, because the more complacent he is, the more Aguilera will get into contention, regardless if he makes a mistake or not. The more these guys behind will get into contention. Speedster was just purely slow out the corner out of turn 11. Andy now on the back, only 7/10 away. Round the final couple of corners we go. Through turn 20 to start lap 25 this will be. Speedster will lead by 7/10 of a second from Andy in second. Aguilera third, Flaky fourth, no position changes. Andy's going off track. Concentrate, man, concentrate. Andy nearly weaving off track there. Speedster now a second clear. Andy's concentration levels beginning to dip there. He might have had his head turned, I think. I wonder there by something out on stream. But certainly Andy doing a good job nonetheless. Speedster 8/10 clear. Andy second. There's Aguilera third. There's Flaky. Going to go on board with Matter though in his pursuit for Barth. This is a battle for 7th and 8th. Sinclair, by the way, has picked up a penalty of 2 seconds. And how on earth has Barth picked up 34 seconds worth of penalties? Goodness me. Barth, 34 seconds worth of penalties. Could be going for a new record right at the end of the season here. Oh. Matter trying to chase down Barth though. Andy trying to chase down Speedster as well. But 1.2 seconds separating these guys out on track tonight. Speedster 1.1 seconds ahead of Andy. So come through turn 12 once again. Speedster now into 13. Holding the gap consistent. Andy holding the gap consistent as well. Aguilera just dropping off slightly. He had a slight mistake coming out of 10-15 there, just in the background of shot. But it means that Flaky can try and get a little bit closer. Matter, by the way, is now through on Bart. And Matter, actually, I'm not sure what's happened here. Matter is waiting up for him, it seems. Strange one that, but Andy, 6 minutes and 35 seconds to go pretty much. My voice cracked there. Speedster leading the way. Andy second. Aguilera third. And Andy trying to get closer here. Could be a thrilling finale. If it was choosing to be. Speedster responds 58.5 compared to Andy 59.3. Aguilera 59.1 last time around. Flaky 2-minute one. He's getting close down by Sinclair. Sinclair's found a lot of pace towards the end of this race now. Not sure what was happening earlier on, whether he was having a few issues with his wheel. But certainly Sinclair in 5th is catching Flaky. That could be one to watch towards the end of the race. There's a reminder of the penalties, by the way, 2 seconds worth. So Sinclair's got to get past Flaky and then pull away by another 2 seconds. So that is the gap that we've got to see. Speedster, though, out in front. There he is. And we're slowly ticking down the timer towards the end of the race here in CRC LMP3. Will be the final round of the championship. You can join myself, maybe even Professional alongside me in the commentary box if he's not too busy. So it should be at least myself in the commentary box next week for the season finale and for my final commentary in CRC next week at the Autodrome. Lovely track to finish off with as well. Hopefully we get a better attendance next week as well. We did have a few pullouts. I know McTulsey couldn't make it. I think Nissim couldn't make it either tonight as well. So there were quite a few pullouts. Might have been because of the Champions League final, but still. Speedster 1.9 seconds out in front. Andy second. Has been a good race on the whole. from all of these guys. Obviously, the safety car period brought a race neutralization period essentially into the race. Oh, Speedster spun! Speedster has spun on the curve from the lead of the race. I cannot believe it. Speedster has spun. Agulator through to second. Game on again for the championship. Unbelievable stuff. I think Speedster might do enough nonetheless. But now Andy, in an unlikely position, takes the lead of the race with just 4.5 minutes to go. Speedster is going to be absolutely livid with that spin. And goodness me, we've got a race. 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Andy leads. Agulator second. Speedster in third. Sinclair is catching Flaky. Hand over fist as well. 1.5 seconds separating. Actually, the gap now down to a second. Sinclair is flying. Sinclair, honestly, if Sinclair gets ahead of Flaky, goes ahead by 2 seconds, Speedster was the same position as he is, I think we might go final round with a couple of points difference in between it, possibly. If I'm doing the maths right there, might be wrong. But Speedster on the back of Agulator. Andy pulling away. The more that Agulator holds up Speedster, the more Andy will pull away and win this race. And Andy has landed himself in the best possible scenario out on track. The most unlikeliest win possible. Remember, Andy spun on lap 1. Remember that. He was down towards the back end of the field. And it is now the case where Andy could win this whole race. And Speedster, who has been looking dominant for the last 50 minutes or so, has potentially bottled it right at the end of the race. It could be quite dicey towards the end here with 3 minutes to go. We will only have 2 more laps as well. Will be 2 more laps after we come across the line this time around. So we'll go to the end of lap 29 to start lap 30. That's when the final lap will be. Andy will lead the way onto the penultimate lap of the race. Agulator is 4 seconds behind Andy, and the Scotsman is now putting in lap after lap, consistent after consistent, and now Andy leads the way in an unlikely possible success. The Scotsman comes across the line to start the penultimate lap of the race. Improvement, 0.5 of a second improvement from Andy. Across the line, Agulator in second, but here comes Speedster. Is Speedster going to try and risk it? He is going to have to absolutely fly if he wants this win. Flaky in fourth, Sinclair in fifth, still 0.7 of a second away. Now 0.5 as we come down in towards turn 1. But again, Flaky staying consistent. Speedster, though, is hounding all over the back of Agulator through the S section. Through turn 6 now. Agulator switches out to the outside line. Now to the inside line to hit the curb. But now, Speedster all over the back. The more he gets held up, the more Andy will win this race. And I think Andy is going to win this unless he spins. Touch wood, he doesn't. Touch wood, anybody doesn't. But Agulator now under pressure from Speedster. Final lap of the race is going to be really dicey indeed. Here comes Speedster down the inside on Agulator. Oh, and Agulator just cut the door right the way open there. Well, could have shut in fact. And Agulator through and he's up to second. Speedster now into third position. Flaky, Sinclair, Rissner home. ILRT, Matter has got through on Bot, by the way. So now Matter up to 7th. Bot down to 8th. Sinclair as well will be looking quite close on the back of Flaky. Speedster through the one Agulator, trying to go around the outside and towards turn 13. Can he get the move done? Agulator on the inside line, Speedster on the outside line. Now it will switch. Speedster will hold the inside line, and this should be job done for Speedster, surely. Agulator forced out wide. Speedster's through up to second. Good move there by the American at his home track. And he's through and he's up into second position. Flaky, by the way, still hounding the attention. Sinclair hounding the attentions of Flaky. We're about to go on to what will be the final lap of the race out on track. And this has been Andy's race, really, that he has lost for 56 minutes of this race. Speedster spinning through the triple right-hander has cost Andy the win. Has brought Andy the win, I should say. 59.8, 59.6 last time around. Speedster is going to have to put in a mountainous performance now to put in a good battle. But Bot, by the way, and Matter are fighting out through the middle sector. But now Matter is ahead of Bot as a result of that position. Speedster's got to fly. Speedster's got to put in a qualifying lap. Andy. They're all fine on fuel. Oh, and Agulator spun. Agulator has spun through the S section, and now Flaky could get P3. This is so unlikely. Agulator now rejoins track. He has to rejoin track just about in front of Flaky. Flaky on the inside line. Agulator though rejoins. Has the car got damage? I don't think it has. He parks the bus on Flaky. Agulator is trying his utmost to defend now. Oh, Flaky cuts across the grass. Sinclair now could be in with a chance of P3. This race is changing left, right and centre on the final lap of the race. Flaky now down to P5. He launches it on Sinclair. Sinclair is going to make contact, surely. I think there was contact. Sinclair is through though. He's up to P4. Speedster trying to hunt down Andy. Andy leads the way by 2.7 seconds. Now coming through the final couple of corners. Through the final sector for the final time. Flaky and Speedster. Flaky and Sinclair still looking quite close. Flaky looking to the inside line on Sinclair. No, Flaky will not get the move done. He is aware that the car ahead might have 2-second penalties. That's why he might be staying in behind for that 4th position. But now, Andy, for a very unlikely victory. It's going to be his 3rd win of the season here, Andy. Coming around the final corner. The Scotsman is going to do it. I cannot believe this. Andy, out of all that has gone wrong in this race, it has gone right for him in the end with Speedster spinning. Andy around the final corner. He will take the win here at Circuit of the Americas. A fantastic and unlikely victory for Andy. He wins. Speedster in 2nd. He wraps up the championship though. Sinclair is down in 5th. Sinclair now up to the 4th. They could be still changing. Agulator coming across the line to finish in 3rd. It will be Flaky in 4th. Sinclair will not get 4th position. He finishes in 5th with the penalties. Racing at Home is going to be coming across the line as well to finish in 6th position. And the Brit would have been hoping for a better race. He was in the podiums at one stage as well. Racing at Home across the line in 6th position. And we've got Matter and Bart still fighting out for position. It is a good battle between these two. We've seen the position changes left, right and centre, but Bart now trying the inside line. Matter around the outside line. Matter should have this position, I think, with Bart. 34-second extensive penalties, and there goes Bart. Bart now into the wall. That is Matter through, and he's up to P7. Hot Wheels signs getting taken out left, right and centre. Beat that, I think he says, to the Hot Wheels sign. Matter now around the final corner. Yeah, you may as well not wait up. Bart's got 34 seconds worth of penalties. He's just wasting time here. Matter going to be across the line to finish in 7th position. Bart, though, they're going to have a bit of a battle towards the end here, I think. Bart looks like he's going to get the run, but yeah, Matter finishes in P7. Bart in P8 in the end. Dramatic end to the American Grand Prix in the Circuit of the Americas. It is Andy, though, who has won. Speedster 2nd. He takes the championship. Well done to Speedster on taking that. Agulator in 3rd. Flaky 4th. Sinclair in 5th. Racer Home in 6th. Matter 7th. And Bart filling out the top 8 positions. All 8 finish, actually, which is good to see. Good to see nobody disconnecting. I'm going blue screen to invite everyone into the party. That requires an invite. I will try and conduct an interview with Agulator on Discord. But let's bring Andy and let's bring our champion of Speedster. When I find his name, I'm going to have to search for his name, aren't I? Yeah. I'm going to quickly do this. When it decides to load. There we are. And there we go. So we'll get Speedster in as well. So we'll take Andy and Speedster for their interviews. And we will, of course, go to Andy first, who was our race winner, the Scotsman. Very, very unlikely win. And Speedster wrapping up the championship, of course, here tonight ahead of Sinclair. Sinclair only managing 5th as a result of penalties. But Speedster will come in, I'm sure, and so will Andy for the podium interviews. And while they give their answers, I will try and conduct that interview as well with Agulator in Discord as well. Both of them do have party invites. Hopefully we're going to get at least one interview from the guys. But been very interesting, I think, here tonight. We, of course, go to the Dubai Autodrome next week for the final round of CRC. And yes, I will say it to the guys in the commentary box. We'll wait for Andy to join first. hopefully he will be able to join. There he is. There is the man of the moment. It is the Scotsman, the winner of the Circuit of the Americas. At the Circuit of the Americas, it is Andy. Andy, for 56 minutes of that race, you weren't leading. What happened?
I got lucky, to be perfectly honest with you. Oh God, I was nowhere near the pace to be first or second today, not by a long shot. It was always going to be trying to get on the podium. Getting third was the aim. Safety car obviously made things a little bit interesting towards the end, and I'm not sure what happened to Darren, but obviously he disappeared after the first corner and the restart. Don't know if it was cold brakes or cold tyres, but yeah, I mean, I'll take it. Third victory of the season. Not going to say no to a win, but yeah, I wasn't expecting it at all. And in this game, I still hate this track.
And you still hate this track, but you still won because of luck. That's how racing goes.
It does sometimes. I mean, the safety car ruined a wee bit of what I was doing because I felt I had enough fuel to go to the end. I heard Speedster saying just before the safety car, or during the safety car, that he felt he was on target, but obviously I could tell he was maybe a bit worried about it. That's what it sounded like to me, and I felt comfortable I'd get to the end on the fuel, so the safety car just kind of ruined that for me, because I thought, okay, that's going to be my best chance of getting a win or getting to second based on the speed of Darren and Speedster, who were just miles quicker tonight. Agulator was quick as well, but I think he was probably quicker than me overall, but he just had a few spins out there, unfortunately. And especially after lap one, when I spun battling with Drake, I was like, well, third's the best I'm going to get, so hey, there you go.
It's like Algarve all over again, I think, to be honest.
In a way, yeah, because I mean, obviously that one a little bit different, but obviously I benefited from others' misfortunes, and I guess again at the same time I did. Speedster spinning through the triple right-hander towards the end of the lap. Couldn't see where he was due to the smoke, so I thought I was going to absolutely clatter into him for a moment, but thankfully I managed to miss that one. And Dubai next week should be fun. I will say one thing though, well done to Speedster, because obviously I'm finishing ahead of Darren means he is the champion, so well done to you, buddy, for that one. I know it's been said before by others, and I'll say it myself, you're one of the quickest, if not overall in terms of race pace and qualifying pace, the quickest in the field. But the start of the season there was a few moments, but since round 5 or 6, since the sort of midpoint of the season, the consistency from you has been amazing. The change has been brilliant, and it really shows that you took on some bits of criticism that came your way as constructive and used it for good. So I've got to give you that one, mate. Well done.
Thank you, Andy. I appreciate it.
And
And
of
congrats
course,
to your win today too, and your 3 wins of the season. You drove a great season as well. So good job all around on your end as well. Been a pleasure racing alongside you, buddy.
If it hadn't been for missing 2 races in Le Mans and Donington being miserable, could have been a different story, maybe. Maybe been a three-way scrap.
Maybe we could have been a 3-way scrap. Yeah. That's for sure.
But we do go to Dubai next week. Obviously, it is going to be nighttime conditions. Are you more favourable to Dubai than Circuit of the Americas, Andy?
And I've not driven this car around Dubai yet, just like I haven't driven this car around most tracks before the races came up, to be honest. But I have driven the Dubai track a bit more elsewhere previously, and it's a track I don't mind as much. I've had some good fun and some good races elsewhere. I think I've had a podium there before, actually, in AOR GT3, so I'm hopeful. It's certainly a lot more optimistic than I felt tonight, so we'll see how that one goes for the final race of the season, and then we can start looking forward to season 6.
Yeah, if you want to see Andy get lucky again in Dubai, tune in next week on what will sadly be my final commentary for CRC as well, which I have.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, I've kept it quiet until now. Yeah, I'm going to be hanging up my boots for CRC next season. But it's all to reprioritise myself for Formula 1 commentaries. Simple as that.
Yeah,
Respect,
that's a shame.
buddy.
That's a shame.
Hopefully Andy will be commentating me, we'll hope.
We hope.
If the AOR gods are nice to me and put me in tier 1, which is a small chance, but, We'll see.
As I said last week, you never know, mate. You know, it's that's been a bit interesting with the time trial glitch. So we'll see how things go. But it's a shame you'll be leaving, James. But you've done an amazing job. I want to just quickly before I go off and let you speak to the champ. Obviously, thank you as well, because in terms of TTTV or League Racing TV as it is now, you started off doing this when it was back on TTP cars before we merged with CRC. Dropped in, helped out when I dropped out of the booth to try and help the numbers, build them back up, and got the racing bug again. And you've done brilliant with it. And it'll be a shame to see you go. And it's, whoever's going to take over has got some pretty big boots to fill, if you ask me.
Yeah, they have, and I think honestly, from my perspective, it's been a pleasure commentating on you guys as well. And I'll save my final thoughts for next week. But Andy, I'll let you go and enjoy your evening. Have a good one.
And yourself, guys. Cheers. Take care.
And now we move on to our newly crowned CRC Season 5 champion. It is Speedster. How good does that sound?
It sounds pretty fucking great, if I'm gonna be honest. Oh, right, I don't really care, but no, it's been a season of up and downs, that's for sure. I put a lot of work in, especially at the beginning before Daytona, to figure out this car, and that work that I've done throughout the season is reflected and showed, which is really awesome to see. I wish I could have picked up the win on my home soil today to kind of cap it all off, but it's not really much I can complain about, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I had that really tough struggle, in the beginning of the season, but then I was able to finally kind of step to my stride with, I think, 4 wins on the trot, something like that. So yeah, I'm happy. It's, it's a great feeling. I've never actually won any type of sim racing championship before, ever, across F1, Project Cars, anything. So this is actually my first ever championship. You always gotta love your first win and hope for many more.
Yeah, fantastic. Obviously, for 56 minutes of that race, pretty much, you led it. And we caught your spin, sadly, on the stream, which I'm sure you'll go back and look on. But apart from that, it was a great drive. What happened with that spin, though?
Oh, first of all, my tires were going off, and I was considering pitting actually during the safety car because I knew that a fresh rubber would be almost a second quicker. But pretty much what happened is I tried to take that corner flat because I just wanted to see where the grip was because I was going to go for a fastest lap run at the end, which I ended up doing anyways. But I wanted to see where the grip was, and I knew that was an auto spin curb, and I thought, oh, okay, I'm only an inch away, and barely hit the curb, and because, at least at this track, the curb mechanics are ridiculous for some reason. I just auto-spin. There's nothing I could have done once I hit that curb. So I tried to correct it, nothing doing. And yeah, lost 3 seconds, obviously lost the lead, and then if I hadn't been held up by Agulator, I might have been able to re-challenge Andy, but, it's the end of the day, it is what it is. Agulator did a good job defending, because he wants that position too, but yeah, that was pretty much all that happened. It's just me being stupid, if I'm going to be honest. I probably should have just let off and coasted to the win, considering I already had the fastest lap by 8/10, but I didn't know that if I had the fastest lap or not because I can't see what everyone else has done. So I just, I cruised to the ends. And, you win some, you lose some, but today still feels like a victory because of that championship win.
It does, and it obviously with wrapping up the championship going into next week, pressure is off. How do you think you're going to do in Dubai?
We'll see. I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it, actually, which is a big reason why I wanted to win it today. So this could be the last time I'm on the grid for this season, but, we'll see what happens. I'll put practice in and see if I can make it. But if anything, it's going to be the first challenge, that's for sure. Sugo didn't go too well when I tried to do that last time, but that's just a wheel issue, so I'm not too worried.
Well, let's hope if you do race, we don't have another wheel issue. But go and enjoy it tonight because, honestly, you deserve it.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. See you next time for...
Thank you for everything you've done this season, the commentating. I know it's boring to commentate, 8 races, but, thanks for being here. You did a great job. And we'll, hope to see you soon, man.
Yeah, it's been fantastic commentating. I'll let you go and enjoy your evening.
Have a good one, man.
Thanks. See ya.
Bye.
Oh, and that was our new Season 5 champion, of course, Speedster, joining us in the party. I did get a quick interview as well with Agulator. Some comments coming through from him on the Discord, and good was his comment. Today that I saved fuel, he didn't need to pay. We did have a safety car. That was quite positive, I think, from that perspective. Then he spun on the last lap. He almost lost the podium to Flaky, not to McFly, as he's put in the Discord to me. But he finally kept third place, and it was a fantastic result from Aguilera, and hopefully he'll be able to do an equally as good job next week in Dubai for what will be the final race of the season and my final commentary for CRC on Project Cars 2. Who knows, when one door closes, another door might open. But until then, I've been James Head. Thank you so much for tuning in to Dubai for Circuit of the Americas tonight, for round 12 of the championship. We'll see you next week for Dubai Autodrome. But if you do want more action, TTML will be live once again on Tuesday night. It is, of course, Canada. And then for Wednesday, it is TTML F2, which is going to be taking you through, I think, around Baku, if I'm not mistaken. I did see the schedule for that. It might be Austria, I'm not sure. But we have got Canada all week for TTML races. Division 1 on Tuesday, Kieran McGinley and myself. Division 2 and Division 3 on Thursday night. That is myself and Paco Suarez taking you through, as well as Aidan Carter and Wilco Conti, you might know him as. They're going to be taking you through Division 3. And Division 4 and Division 5 will be live on Friday night as well. Graham Chappell and Joseph Colboy, and myself and Paco Suarez, and what will be his final commentary in Division 5. And then we'll do it all over again the week after. But for myself, James Head, thank you so much for tuning in to CRC tonight. Sorry we couldn't give you the best action, but we'll see you next week for Dubai.